Hey guys, you're here for another episode of Crossover Collision brought to you by the Villains Demand. I am your co-host Evan the Great.
And I am JVD, and here on Crossover Collection, we take two fictional characters and use their source materials for a fictional fight between the two. Regularly, we have 6 environments for the characters to fight in because in comics, environment matters. Which we do talk about an open space between the characters. We move the fight to a city street, a city alley, the rooftop of a large building, the sewer system, and a jungle. Both combatants are set 100 feet apart. Oh man, that sounded horrible, didn't it? And before the fight starts. Now today on Crossover Collision, we've got Big Red himself, the best paranormal investigator of the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense, otherwise known as the B.P.R.D, Hellboy, fighting the Sumerian turned barbarian, turned destroyer, turned conqueror, and king Conan. Evan the Great, as we kind of talked about characters that fight each other and we come up with Hellboy and Conan, what was your initial thoughts before we did our in-depth research?
Initial thoughts before we really dive into these characters. I thought Hellboy was a lot stronger and more durable than Conan just off basic knowledge of the character before I really dived in. So I really thought Hellboy would be a big matchup, too big of a matchup. But as we dive in, they're a lot closer than what I anticipated.
Yeah, as we were talking about this, and you said something, I said, man, maybe you need to really, really look into Conan. I could say probably with both these characters, most people will recognize them and know most about them due to the movies.
Conan was my case. I knew Hellboy from the books and the movie, but Conan, most of my knowledge came from the movie.
And now, see, that's completely backwards for me. I know both movies, but I read more Conan, and I think maybe I have read 1 or 2 Hellboy stories my entire life. So that was the opposite, and maybe that's why you were like, oh, I think, no, this is a mismatch. I'm like, Conan's more than what you think he is. So with that, we'll kind of go into breaking down the characters. We'll start with Hellboy first. Now, I guess I should mention that we all know Hellboy is a demon.
Yes.
And he is set to be the bearer of the apocalypse, and his real name is Anung Unrama, and we're not going with any of that because that's almost like a power-up. Like, you fight Goku, well, you just fight Goku. You don't fight Goku when he's going Super Saiyan. Or, there's no transformation. We're talking about your typical Hellboy that you're usually getting in the comics.
Yeah.
Now, that will start to go into weaponry. Hellboy carries various charms, talismans to protect him from all types of paranormal and mystical creatures and foes. But that's not really going to help him in most battles. But there's 2 main weapons Hellboy carries. The first one is the Good Samaritan, a mega pistol for all, points of reference.
Yeah.
It's a 20 millimeter pistol that holds 4 shots. Now, if you know anything about bullets, Evan, 20 millimeter shells are pretty big. They're not bullets; they're shells,
and they're giant.
Yeah, they're. If you look at pictures of one, they're usually between 5 to 7 inches long.
It'd be like a soda can.
Yeah. So. He uses these to put holes in walls to bust up. I mean, you've seen him shoot tombstones and things, and they just shatter. Basically, it's a hand cannon.
Yeah.
It's mystical in nature, which you had talked about before you even started, which is something I kind of oversighted. So it can hurt mystical creatures, besides the impact from the bullet. As I said, it only holds 4 shots. And Hellboy has admitted that he's not a good shot with it. And then basically it's to do because he has to shoot left-handed, and it's almost in a sense that he's right-handed, but that's the right hand of doom, which we'll get into. But at a close range, he's pretty good with it. Usually he's been seen shooting foes' heads off at a close range while they're moving. But it seems anything, I would guess, maybe outside of 20, 25, 30 feet, that he doesn't seem to be very accurate with it. Now, the second thing he's known for using for, which everybody knows him for, is this giant stone-looking thing on his arm called the right hand of doom. And actually, this is the key to the apocalypse.
Yep.
It almost seems indestructible. Weapons
That's
break
what I was
off.
about to say.
Yes. Weapons break off of it all the time. You see a lot of swords break
Yes.
off of it. And it seems to be his main melee weapon, which he does say he likes to fight people up close. He likes some fisticuffs. And he has knocked out giants with this thing.
Yep.
But other than that, we in the comics, you really don't know the extent of its power besides him using it as a club. And it's been said that it hits with the force of a sledgehammer. So would you say that Triple H would be a fan?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he would hit Triple H with it.
He probably
for what he's
would.
allowed. Never mind.
But with that, we'll kind of move on to the abilities of Hellboy, which, depending on where you look at, this could vary. But we're looking around 10 tons.
Yeah. I think his strength level would be around 10 ton. Doing our research, I knew he was strong, but it ranges for a lot of people's views all over the place. But if I had to pinpoint it just based on some of the things that he can do, he can rip like large trees out of the ground and swing them and hit people with it. He can like flip cars over, rip car doors off, throw demons that are 1,000 pounds,
Throw large pieces of broken stone.
yeah. Pick up boulders and stones that weigh upwards and probably a ton or two and just chunk them through walls and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's pretty damn strong.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like I said, you see him, and a lot of this really impacts the right hand of doom.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot with his strength, just hitting people with the right hand of doom, you would think it would be more than hitting people with a sledgehammer. So it's been said. With a guy that you see, the one picture I think of is where he takes the tree trunk and throws it at the panel, where he throws it at the giant and impales him in the neck. I mean, that requires quite a bit of strength. So for all intents and purposes, we're saying he's about 10 tons.
Yeah. And added on to his big right hand of doom, that could cause some chaos.
Yeah, because I imagine,
He's hitting you with that.
if he punches you with 10 tons of strength with his left hand, which is normal,
Yeah.
and then he punches you with the right hand of doom, which is indestructible.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to load it up as much as possible and swing for the fences because he knows it's not going to hurt it.
Yep.
Now, speaking of hurting, let's move on to Hellboy's durability. Now, it is said that he is much stronger and tougher than a human,
Yeah.
which you would imagine would be like Batman, Captain America.
I was about to say that. I would put his durability around Captain America's durability, which is pretty insane. We did a video over Captain America if you want to go check it out.
Yeah, that's on YouTube, by the way, not our podcast.
Yeah.
On our old Behind the
bad.
Mask that we've kind of gotten rid of.
But, yeah, his durability is around Captain America's durability. He can take a beating, and he can also get stabbed, sliced, shot, and he will continue to move forward at regular pace.
Now, see, that's where I would say he's more of durability as he's strength-wise, like his muscles and his skin is very thick. But it's more than just Captain America. It's more like Wolverine as well because you see him multiple times with swords stuck in him, spears ran through, and he's still fighting it like it doesn't phase him.
So more like
And he heals very quickly from this too. He's very like I said, he survived being shot at close range with machine guns.
Yes.
And went to destroy these machine guns. Like I said, he's immune to fire, being a devil of the hells, which makes sense. He was once electrocuted with, quote, enough voltage to power Hamburg, Germany, which I think I looked that up and it said it had like 3 million people in it.
Yeah, you'd think electricity would have the fire aspect too. Maybe that's how he's able to survive it.
I don't know, possibly. But it was also mentioned that it's believed that he is deathless until he wills himself to die. He has to be ready to die.
Yeah.
So we don't know if that's part of the apocalypse thing that he's fated to do or not.
I think that's it.
I mean, he was dead and in hell, and they told him he's going to be dead as long as he chooses to be dead.
Yep.
So it's kind of hard to judge that there. But regardless, he's very, very durable. You see him get chewed up by monsters all the time in their mouths. And though it hurts him, he heals very rapidly, and he's very to bounce back very quickly from it. Speed. With Hellboy, and I guess I'll say this.
Yeah.
He's not your typical comic book character.
No.
You're not gonna. He's not a Spider-Man. He's not a Batman. You're not going to get your typical feat you see in a comic book.
Yeah.
So it's very, very hard to say, well, he's this fast. Like we realize that Spider-Man's about 70 miles per hour. We know Captain America can, run a mile in right under a minute or whatever. But it's hard to judge his strength. But we have seen the speed. Excuse me. We've seen him be there to nick a time to save people when he's very written off panel.
Yeah.
And we've seen him dodge a ray attack at almost point blank range.
Point blank's dodge.
He seems to be fast, and his reflex seem to be quick enough that he can turn to see a monster in mid-attack, jumping at him, and be able to dodge to the side and still hit that monster. So he is faster than your normal human. That's where I'd say he's probably on par with Captain America speed-wise.
Yeah.
And I guess if you could say you could compare the right hand of Doom to Captain America's shield.
It's like you're looking at my notes.
I can't see your notes from over here.
A lot of things I compare him to Captain America strength-wise. And speed-wise. He's also quick enough and he's agile enough to leap up city city ladders and stuff.
That's part of his strength too. And he looks like he leaps a good 30, 40 feet. So now when it comes to he's not very intelligent, but he's very intelligent in what he knows about. And that's usually monsters, mythical foes of the sort. So he, like I said, he's not your typical comic book character. He would fit really well into the Midnight Suns at Marvel. Doctor Strange, Blade,
Doctor Strange's partner.
There you go. He is a very good close combatant.
Yes.
I would not say that he's an expert.
No.
Because you just usually see him swinging his fist, whatever he can find around, a spear or a sword. And he's a very effective brawler. In that regard, because he usually seems he fought Katachi the Deathless, which if you get a chance to look that fight up, it's really, really good, and it said he's be one of the greatest fighters in the history of the world, and he was very impressed with Hellboy in their fight. So he's a very, very capable close combat fighter, which obviously is very important when we do these. With that's about all I've got for Hellboy. Anything you can think of that maybe we've missed?
Did you talk about his right hand of Doom basically being indestructible?
Yes, we did talk about that.
I couldn't remember if you talked about it or not. So
like I said, it's almost like
he
Captain
would use
America's
that kind of
shield.
like Captain America's shield, like you said, to deflect a lot of things, and with the strength that he's pushing back with, that might also be another thing we might think of during
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, like I said,
what will break off of it and things like that.
Now, the one thing that I'd like to bring up, or while we're here discussing Hellboy and his abilities, is we've talked about that it's mentioned that he may be deathless, that he will die when he is ready. Now, the question is, obviously, he can be knocked out. We've seen him be knocked out before, which would be the most effective way to beat him in these crossover collisions. But do you believe that decapitation would kill him?
I don't know.
I mean, he's not Deadpool.
It's never really happened.
Decapitation kills Wolverine.
For some reason, I think it would kill him, and he would go to hell, and then they would put him back on Earth and grow back. Because they're not going to let him, because he can't really die. Even though his body would be dead, I think that would happen.
So, but you're saying, though, decapitation should kill him.
Oh, yeah, I think it would kill him, but I don't think he'd stay dead. But that's my personal opinion.
But you're saying, though, that is a way to beat him here on the crossover collision.
In my opinion, yes.
All right. So with that, let's break off into his opponent, Conan the Barbarian, Sumerian, Slayer, Conqueror, Destroyer, King, whichever title you prefer. Yeah. Which one of those do you prefer?
King.
See, I like Barbarian.
He's a barbarian, but
Conan the Barbarian.
He's a king that likes to be barbaric.
So, I got a little something special here. We've known each other a long time. We grew up as kids, you know. Do you know that Conan is what got me into comic books?
I did not know that. Or did you ever tell me that and I just forgot?
I don't talk about it a lot. My mom loves romance novels, but she's the reason I love to read. But my mom loves horror and science fiction. And, you know, those are things I grew up on, right?
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, my mom, she worked nights, so she would be off Fridays and Saturdays, and we would go pick her check up when us kids would get out off of school. And we would go to the IGA in the town she worked at, and she would pick up her books, and she would always pick up whatever Conan magazine was there. And I would sit and read them as a kid.
That's pretty amazing.
So, yeah. And then that's before I even owned my first comic book. And I had those for a very, very long time until they were stolen out of my house. So Conan holds a very special place in my heart because of that. So
interesting.
Yeah, so see, it's something I tell a lot of people. So if I ever am a famous writer, people's like, well, what did you first read? Conan. I watched Conan screw women and kill everything. So, but with that, Conan's weaponry is known for one thing. Now, don't get me wrong, he uses a lot of things. He uses axes, he uses spears and bows and knives, and he's all masters with that, but he prefers a longsword, and he's known for carrying a longsword made of Atlantean steel, which in the Hyborian Age is considered the strongest steel in the world. Now, this is what comes into question. This is a fictional metal. And you've never seen this sword broke. He does use it in the movies as a sword that he carries. If you ever look at the replicas, there's not almost a lot of difference. Something that's cool I learned about the sword is the way it's made above the hilt, how it's curved in and it's not sharp. It's made so when you stab, you can actually reach for that part of the blade without cutting yourself.
I never thought of that.
I was reading about it. I thought it was really interesting.
I was going to bring up the fact that the blade, when he wields it in the movies anyway, and I think if you, I haven't read a whole lot of comics.
The movies are not swords.
Well, I'm just saying the way it looks and everything, it feels like it's more of a two-handed sword.
You can wield it two-handed, but if you've read a lot of the books, you'll see him wield it one-handed quite often. Now, there's another issue with Conan before we start breaking down physical abilities. Conan was a Marvel character at one time.
Yes.
And he does have some crossover with modern-day Marvel characters that are still around. Do those count here? They were in what-if stories.
We kind of talked about this a little bit, and I for some reason, I think they should count because there were so many of them back in the day.
Well,
if anything, they would count for kind of knowing where his limits are.
Yeah, well, I've never read them, but there's things where he has actually been pulled into modern times magically, or whoever he has faced has been pulled into the Hyborian Age, which is in the past. So there's nothing there in the what if that says that, this is a what if he is actually magically transported or said foe is magically transported to him. So in a sense, I do feel that they do count.
Yeah, I would overall think they would.
Now, to just fly through these very quickly, he fought Thor, which he did admit Thor is by far more powerful than he is. Because Thor was throwing him around, and then they teamed up, which they should. He did. Now, the two that matter here is he's fought Captain America, which he managed to, I don't know if would you say beat Captain America, but he managed to get past the shield and cut his arm and make one of his arms useless before the fight was over.
That's pretty impressive.
It is very, very impressive. And though they say he killed Wolverine because Wolverine got sucked back into his time, he hit him hard enough in the back of the head with a sword that it knocked him out. And it broke over Wolverine's head.
It actually makes sense when I found out how strong Conan was.
It does. And so he managed to knock Wolverine out with not a punch, not any type of physical strike, with a sword and break it over his head.
Yep.
So in that fight, and this will kind of give it a testament once we go into how capable he is in combat, is he was smart enough and Wolverine realized it too late. Wolverine went to slash him with his claws and connected across his stomach, and Wolverine knew that he was being baited, and that's how Conan beat him. He let Wolverine get in close enough just so he could cut him, so it wouldn't be deep enough, so he could attack him and take him out with the sword.
That's
so that
pretty
just
impressive.
and them two are two of your top combatants, like hand-to-hand fighters in Marvel, and he's done that to both of them. So that right there, before we start, gives you a good idea of what he's capable of combat-wise.
Yes.
So with that, let's go to strength. We both agree that Conan is about 10 tons, possibly more.
Yeah. And being a 10-ton, and the reason we think this, and possibly more, is especially in his Marvel comics, you can look up pictures and stuff that he done.
Now, before you say anything, in Marvel, when you go to the old Conan books and like Savage Sword of Conan, a lot of these are taken from the old books.
Yes.
So you're just seeing what's in a book to page.
There we go. And a lot of these things is like the reason I can say he's 10 ton is like we talking to Hellboy, same thing with him. He there are a lot of things that are similar. He can rip trees out of the ground, rip car doors off. He can punch through walls, and he's strong enough and quick enough to run through walls and also run through steel doors and bend them.
Yeah, one of Conan's things you constantly see is when he's in prison, he will bend or break cell doors.
I that's where I would put him at as far as strength wise. I agree. He's about a 10-tonner. I mean, he's strong.
Well, you see him constantly.
He might be stronger than that.
Yes. Well, he's very, very capable of in a lot of things. Well, Conan has things for breaking animals' necks.
Yeah.
Panthers, raging bulls, crocodiles, dinosaurs.
Yep.
As they're fighting with him, and he has enough strength to turn their heads and break their neck, which is not a small feat.
Pull their jaws open too.
Yeah, they're Kong-like.
That's one of the strengths that I've read quite a bit about.
You've seen him literally kill a man with one punch and shatter his skull.
Yep.
Which is very, very brutal. He easily can grab a skull, like palm it like a basketball, crush it. He breaks bones with punches. So he is not your typical man in the Hyborian age. Much like you said with Hellboy, we've seen him throw logs before.
Yeah.
Giant rocks. The fight with Thor, he picks up a giant rock and it kind of blows Thor's mind because he's like, this is no typical man. So, like we said, that 10 tons is with a question mark because there's times it seems like he's lifted things quite heavier than what you would expect him to. Durability. If you ever read a Conan book, he's insanely durable.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like him fighting like giant beasts and monsters and snakes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell? he can go through. He can take a beating.
Yes, I mean you see him fight people after being shot with a barrage of arrows. Some of the feats I was looking at durability wise, and this also I would say fortitude wise, because you can kind of blend the two together. He's been bitten by a large shark, killed it, and then swam ashore.
Yep.
He has been electrocuted underwater by a giant eel and managed to kill it, swim ashore. He once in the books swam 90 miles ashore.
Yep.
So that just shows you some of his fortitude. He has been cut many, many times across the belly and the arms. He's been impaled, and none of it seems to slow him down. One time, men were hitting him with flails, maces, morning stars, and it barely manages to slow him down.
Yep.
So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, you could say he is a god amongst the men in the Hyborian age. So, he's also been affected by large doses of poison, and they've not seemed to affect him at all.
I don't. The poison thing is kind of weird, I guess, because of the environment he was raised in.
Yes.
He just became basically immune.
Well, back in the Hyborian age, there's a lot of underhanded shit with poisoning kings and queens and politicians, and none of it affects them.
Yep.
Fast. Conan is super fast.
Yeah, he's ridiculously quick. Trying to find my speed note here. Yeah, there we go. He's faster than a lot of animals.
Yes.
Like horses and I think even lions and things that will move. I think he's quicker than a striking snake is what I've gathered. So he is super fast. I don't know where I'd put his speed at. I think he's actually in this combat I already know he's faster than Hellboy.
Well, okay.
I don't know how much faster, but he's fast.
He's managed to outrun men on horseback. Your average horse, and horses run for an insanely long amount of time. And he managed to outrun them, and your average horse is about 30 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So technically, he would be faster than Captain America.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he is. I mean, technically by...
No. If Captain America runs a mile in less than a minute, that'd be almost 60 miles. So, but he's pretty freaking fast.
I think Cap... I can't remember. He's whatever peak human is. I think fastest human runs like 30-something miles an hour. So, yeah, he's up there.
So, you say that. You basically, a lot of times decide strength and durability. But
yeah,
Conan is what you would expect peak human to be.
Yeah.
In a fantasy setting.
Oh, yeah. It's higher.
Because, well, it is, fantasy and sorcery. He's dodged arrows from multiple archers that were flying at him at the same time. You talk about his speed and his reflexes. He's managed to decapitate 3 large snakes striking at him all at once with one swing of a sword.
He dodged arrows being shot at him point blank.
Oh yeah, and he's also very quick at dodging multiple attacks from men surrounding him at one time. So he's very, very fast, and his reflexes are off the charts. Now there's a couple things that aren't physically that are related to him. He's resistant and may be immune to psychic attacks. Mm-hmm. The biggest one is he's resisted to siren song. So that says quite a bit about how psychic attacks will work on him. He's always resisting magics and ancient charms from these mystical beings he fought, which is he's resisted the gaze of a vampire and the magic of a vampire. Nice. So yeah, I mean, you got to think of we are huge D&D characters, and Conan is the ultimate D&D character. He also has a thing called talk about D&D, the Barbarian Sixth Sense, which allows him to dodge crossbows by being blind. So basically, in D&D terms, you can't catch him flat-footed. It's very hard to catch him off guard. He can see in the dark perfectly. He has a very strong sense of smell. He's detected poisons within food and drink, and he's also able to smell out invisible foes. So therefore, that's almost another deterrent against magic in a way. He fights men in close combat while blindfolded. He also has excellent hearing. He was able to hear men come up far away from his encampment and set up an ambush before they could even get to him.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He also is extremely stealthy because if you know anything about Conan, before he was all these things, he was a thief.
Yep.
He's always a thief. There is a race called the Crow in the Hyborian Age, and they have the most superb hearing of anybody in the world, and they can hear a man breathe from like a god-awful distance, and he managed to hide from them, and he's managed to sneak up on them. So he's very, very stealthy. Now, the one thing everybody always knows about Conan is he is a master combatant in hand-to-hand and with all archaic weapons.
Yep.
If you've ever read a Conan comic, I should say, which we've talked about his Atlantean sword, which is his preferred weapon.
Yes.
But you will always see him fighting with axes, spears, bows, knives. They say he's the best knife fighter in the Hyborian Age, and he's defeated most of the best swordsmen and killed them in the Hyborian Age. Like we say, he's the ultimate D&D character. So, one thing we hear as we're wrapping up Conan, we've talked about, obviously he has this Atlantean sword. And we talked about, we always see him use these weapons. What other weapon would we think he would have? And being considered the greatest knife fighter, obviously he would have some type of combat knife on him. But in that, we didn't no shield, no axe, no bows, no spear. Because it's not, Conan's a brawler.
Yeah.
Last thing you're going to see him is with a bow. So, now that we've broken these down, do you have anything to say before we get to these environments and these fights?
I don't think so.
So, let's get with it. As we mentioned, all these fights are both characters start out at 100 foot. Each fight is a brand new fight. They have no prior knowledge of each other during each fight. Well, let's start it off. Open area. There's no type of obstacles. It's a flat space, wide open. Clearly see each other. Nothing to hide behind. Nothing to use as a weapon. No type of environmental advantage. Having a great. Who do you think wins?
It's weird because this is also a comedy to me because these two characters they're so similar in their abilities, but they're so different from where they're from.
Yes, I agree.
And Conan has probably never. Well, he's seen a gun, I guess, when he got in the Marvel universe when he got thrown in there in the future.
Yeah, because there is a book where he got stuck in modern times.
But I think that Hellboy would shoot at him, but he won't hit him. He's got a horrible shot. And I think anytime both of these fights are probably going to be the same outcome for me. I think that Hellboy is. I think they're both the same durable, but Conan has no armor. Really?
Hellboy.
Huh? And Hellboy don't have armor, but I think his skin is more of an armor. Being a devilish skin, I don't really know.
Well, we've seen them both be impaled and still fighting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They both can do all of that stuff. They're both the same strength, I think, personally. They're both around the same strength. I think that Conan's a little bit quicker, and he is a master of his melee. And Hellboy is not. I think that in an open kind of setting, I really think Conan beats him. I think it's a fucking awesome fight, but I think he beats him.
I think it'd be a great fight.
That's what I'm saying. I think it would be the same, but then I get down, okay, they're around the same of everything until you get to the actual skill level, and Conan is more skilled than Hellboy.
Well, here's my thing.
In weaponry.
I'd love to see this comic, and now that...
I would almost call it a draw, but I think... Go ahead.
And now that Marvel has gotten the rights back to Conan, Dark Horse really missed an opportunity here. And it's kind of sad, because you said it's a comedy, and when you said that, I thought, oh my God, it is. Because, Conan would be like, foul beast from the hells. He's like, I will kill you. And Hellboy would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why do I have to be foul?
That's hilarious.
His dry sense of humor and Conan's seriousness, I think it'd be the talking here between both of them would be funny. So you were pretty...
I'm going to put percentage on my thing real quick.
Okay.
Just so the audience knows how close I think this would be. I think Conan would win every time, but I think it would be like 52 to 48. I think he would edge him out every time, but they fight.
Oh, I think it's a knockout, drag out fight. So here's my thing. It's open area, which automatically gives Hellboy an advantage because he has a ranged weapon. He has the Good Samaritan.
It's horrible.
But here's the thing. Okay, it's 100 foot, and we've established that he is not a good shot from far away. So 100 foot is probably not a good distance from him. But it would be dumb to say that Hellboy would not gauge how fast and how smart he is from that distance.
Yeah.
By firing at him.
I was wondering how he got 4 rounds, so
he's got...
He had a round left when he got close enough.
That's what I'm thinking. I would think that... Because Hellboy's not an idiot. He's a very capable fighter. Now, the thing is he quick enough to get the shot off during the fight? Because once Conan closes the distance, which here's my thing. It's 100 foot. It's open air. Conan, sword. To me, he's not going to draw that knife. He's going to until he needs it because he's a cheater.
Yeah,
he's a thief. He's going to run, and Hellboy's going to let him get close enough, and he's going to shoot. Now the question is, could Conan? Is he fast enough to react to a shot being fired from a gun?
Probably. Maybe because you got to pull the trigger.
Well, here's the thing. He knows that he's being shot at because Hellboy is going to pull the gun. And to say that he's seen a gun, depending on how you see the what ifs.
Yeah.
But I think he would relate that to a crossbow.
Yeah.
So he's going to know that he has to zig and zag and whatnot. And so, say when Hellboy fires a shot and misses, who's to say that he won't start firing at the ground?
Yeah.
Because it's a hand cannon. So it's going to throw him off balance. Now, I think that's where he might be smart enough to keep a 1 round in the chamber for the fight. And then when the melee ensues, it's going to be fucking insane.
Yeah. I think if he did manage to shoot him in melee with that gun, the Hellboy would win.
Yes, I do, and that's
But
kind
I
of
just don't know if he can.
Okay, so here's the thing. I think Hellboy is probably the more durable of the two, but I see Conan as the better fighter of the two.
Yeah, and he's faster.
Yeah, I think he is faster as well. Now the question is, this Atlantean steel of his sword, would it break on Hellboy's hand?
That is what I asked myself over and over and over, is if that sword broke on his hand, then Hellboy would have the advantage. But I think the sword has hit other things and didn't break. But it's also hit. Did it break on Wolverine's skull and hit him with it?
You don't know if that was the sword or not.
Yeah, because I can't. If it was a sword, it would break. But I don't know if it would break. That's a tough one.
Okay, even if it does, Conan has still killed people with broken bones.
Yeah.
And he has a knife.
Yeah, I'm just thinking him with a knife is a little bit different than him with that sword. But he's still master at both.
Now, here's the thing. Also in the fight, Hellboy's going to realize, he's going to think, okay, this is some crazy freaking human.
Yeah.
You know, if he needs to, he could allow himself to be impaled, and then you can't run from a shot from that close. So to me, the gun is a huge advantage to him, even though it's close. And to me, it kind of edges out Hellboy for me.
I think his gun, to me, is more advantage in melee combat.
With Conan, I agree. I think it is.
But what was you saying? Sorry.
And then I think the gun kind of edges him out in this open. And the thing is, it's not because it's open. It's because he admits that he's a good shot up close and not at range.
Yeah.
So, and that kind of will lay out things now that you think ahead of time. But I think that's a kind of and I think it's if anything, it might be a lucky shot.
It might be.
Because Conan is going to be all over him like white on rice.
Yeah.
So, and I think that just because, and I kind of want to say that Conan could win, but like I said, just the fact that Hellboy's not dumb enough to shoot all 4 shots.
Yeah.
So I think, because it's an open area, especially when he sees his speed, and I kind of feel that is a good advantage for Hellboy here. So, and I say Hellboy wins here.
I'm still sticking to my guns, but it could go either way. But I think we're almost all the way identical until the end thing. In the end, Hellboy for you, and I think in the end, Conan for me in open area.
Okay, do you think Conan wins because he knocks him out or because he cuts his head off?
I think eventually he would be able to I think he would knock him out eventually,
and then cut his head off because that's what he would do because he's a demon.
Just because of his strength would also surprise Hellboy. I think
it would too.
I think first he's thinking this dude's fast, this dude's awesome with a sword, but I think when they got to wrestling, Conan can wrestle too. So
yeah,
he wrestled down animals and beasts.
So right off the gate, we are divided. All right, now I think we go to, which I would always say is our most favorite place to discuss, the city streets.
That's a fun one.
Now, let me tell you, 100 foot, it's something that's kind of like, you get to the area of Times Square in New York where you have massive buildings around you, cars, people running for their lives. Now, that's where morals come into play in this type of arena.
I think this is weird. I think that Demon has more morals than Conan.
Oh, yeah, he does. That's for sure.
So I think him being kind of hesitant on, to shoot his gun out here, it could be a added bonus, and it could be a disadvantage because he's not shooting, so he can't really gauge how quick he is until he starts running. But at the same time, that means he has more shots when they're in melee range, and he's better with the gun in melee range, and he might shoot it more if they're in a more of a closer battle.
So you're saying Hellboy?
I think in this case, since he wouldn't waste his shots, because in the open area, I think he wasted his shots. Maybe he held one in the chamber, in your opinion. But I think this one he wouldn't shoot because there's everybody running around. But once they got locked up, I think he would shoot, and I think he would have more of a chance to get that lucky shot or to shoot him. And I think Hellboy wins in this environment.
Okay, so right now you're saying Hellboy. Now here's what I'm saying. So obviously, Conan's going to take off after him. That is going to be Conan's go-to thing in every fight. He's going to run at him with his sword. Hellboy, to me, it's the same thing. He lets him get close enough to shoot at him. And when he does, this is what's different from here in an open environment, is now Conan has stuff to hide behind.
Yeah.
Conan is super stealthy.
He is.
So, here's my thing.
But I don't know how stealthy he's going to hide or if he's just going to run right at him if he sees him.
Well, not when he... Here, that's what I'm getting at. Conan shoots. If he's able to dodge or if he misses him, big explosion.
Yeah.
Conan's going to realize, oh, shit. You know, he's got a cannon. So, say he died. That's first shot. Second shot, he dodges behind a car. Hellboy shoots it.
Yeah.
Does it knock Conan back, or is Conan strong enough to hold the car and like literally launch it at him?
I don't know. Would Hellboy be shooting at if people's running around?
Yeah, but eventually, 100 foot. If people are running, I mean, he's going to wait and find a shot.
Yeah.
People are going to start scattering.
I guess so.
But that's what I'm saying. He's not going to fire at a person. And this is where I think the fight gets tricky, because now you have Conan hiding behind a bunch of stuff. So he can sneak up on Hellboy, which is a huge advantage for him because he can get to drop on him. And to me, I think this is where I'm now opposite of you. I think Conan has a huge advantage for the fact that he's got stuff to hide behind. Now picture this. Hellboy's walking through all these cars. People's cleared out because I think Conan will wait his time here. He's watching. Conan lets him sneak by behind a car, and then wham, he gets hit with a car.
Yeah.
Because Conan should be strong enough to pick up a car. And then he's getting to, it might not knock Hellboy out, it might not stun him, but he might stumble, and then Conan will get the drop on him.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big advantage here. And to me, it doesn't matter how many shots he's got in his gun. Because I think once Conan can get the jump on him, it's going to be hard to stop him from keep stabbing at you and whatnot.
So I guess, for my opinion, it all comes down to how fast do the people evacuate. Because if they're slower evacuating, I think my opinion still stands. If they're quicker, then Conan would definitely hide, and then 100%.
Well, how many people do you think will clear out before Conan is able to close 100 foot of the length of a basketball
I think people
court?
would see Demon, and they would be running.
Yeah, but will they clear out before Conan gets close enough?
And I think once the first shot is fired out of that rifle, they're running for their life.
So how does that add up for you then?
I still stick by my opinion. I think they're going to be. I still think that they're going to be around enough to get them into combat before the stealth starts happening. That's just my personal opinion.
So you're still sticking with Hellboy?
Yeah. And I think it's because he won't shoot right away, and I think that would really what make people run away.
All right, so boy, we are very divided here.
I think we're going to even out if we go, to tell you the truth.
We're about to find out. Okay, so we go to a city alley, 20 foot wide. There's 100 foot of space between them. There's buildings, up the sides of them. There's fire escapes there. There's some dumpsters, some trash cans. Hellboy and Conan, 100 foot.
Being in an alleyway, there's stuff to hide behind, but there's nobody there, so he's going to be shooting quicker. I think he'll run his ammo out like he would in the first contest. And plus, there's a couple things to hide behind, a couple things to throw. I think that this would be I think it would get into a combat without him. He'd have less chance to shoot Conan once they get to melee. I think he'd be shooting at him before that. But I think his quickness, dodging, hiding, I think Conan would win in an alleyway.
Completely the opposite. Because here's the thing.
I'm not doing this on purpose. That's what the audience is thinking right now.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing. Okay, it's a narrow alley, and we've always said this alley's like 20 foot wide.
Yeah.
So Conan, even though he zigs or zags, does not have a lot of room to move. Say he runs up and he dodges behind the dumpster. Okay, so Hellboy shoots the dumpster.
Change my opinion.
Okay, so Conan.
I'll tell you what in a minute.
Conan, so he blows a dumpster away, or it knocks Conan backwards and whatnot. So that's one less thing for him to hide behind. Eventually, all Hellboy has to do is wait for him to get close enough.
Yeah.
I think it being narrow, even though despite Conan's speed, I think Hellboy will kill him with the Good Samaritan before he even gets to him.
I got to change my opinion because there's couple things I thought about. What you just said, And the first time, I totally forgot we talked about this like 20 minutes ago when he was doing Hellboy. That's his environment.
Exactly.
So he would win. Because Conan's probably never seen ladderscapes and
if we're saying what if counts, he
hasn't been around it like Hellboy has.
Yes, so this is Hellboy's environment.
I keep forgetting that. Yeah, he wins.
Which, lo and behold, we're going to be fighting in an environment that's Conan's too. So, and the thing is, we've always had these environments set.
So we agree on that one.
And what I mean by we've always had these 6 environments set, we were doing this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Which we were doing behind the mask to keep the ability breakdown separate and then the fight. And these are all ones we've always had.
Yeah.
So now you're saying Hellboy in an alley.
Yeah, I when I started, oh my God, he's in his element. There's no way he would lose.
All right, so we go to a city rooftop, about an 80 by 80 rooftop. You've probably got a water tank up here to hide behind. There's central air units, I should say, to hide behind. A ring out gets you to win.
Yeah.
It's probably a good 30 stories up. Who wins?
I think up here there's a lot more things for Conan to hide behind. And you're on a rooftop. They both can survive the fall. Easily. I think they both...
Do you really think Conan can survive a fall 30 stories up?
I want to say yes, but I'm not sure. I don't think he can survive like Hellboy. I've seen Hellboy jump off of it and land on the ground, actually.
Okay.
So...
Because we're small town.
But if you fall off, you lose, so it really don't matter.
If we're small town, we have a lot of water towers.
Yeah.
Okay, just say our hometown. I know for sure that our water tower is 185 feet in the air because I've climbed to the very top of it a couple times. Do you think Conan could survive a fall that high?
Yes, but I think he would be hurt.
I think he could survive too, but he would be hurt. So,
and I know Hellboy can jump off of that probably
and not hurt him
at all.
I agree.
So, but then
this
again,
is about a ring
if
out,
you fall out, you lose. And the way we do these, so I think because of that, and that actually wouldn't come into effect of falling off. And there's a lot more places to hide behind it. A lot more places to hide behind on top of this, I think.
Than an alley there is.
I think it takes away Hellboy's advantage, and I think Conan wins.
Okay, so how do you think he would win? Do you think he wins by KO, throwing him out?
I think Hellboy is more... It's weird because Conan's a barbarian, and he's raging and just trying to kill, but he's still accurate, and he's more precise, and I think he's more balanced than Hellboy would be. Mm-hmm. I think he's swinging for the fucking fences, and he ducks, and he falls off this building. It don't kill him, but he falls off.
So you think Hellboy loses by ring out?
I think him trying to hit him and just full force, getting pissed because he can't hit this little quick bastard, and I think he would fall off.
So you think Hellboy... So would you say that Conan hits him and knocks him off, or does you think he throws him off?
I think he throws him off because he's a good wrestler and he dodges beasts and tigers. I think that's what will do it.
Now, saying that, because I think Hellboy wins this, and it's almost like the open area that he would shoot, and he would wait for him to get close to save a round. But now you're saying that you think Conan throws him off.
I think all the hiding spots would really irritate Hellboy. He'd waste all of his shots. Then once when they got into it, he'd be trying to take his head off. And I think he would use his momentum and his animalistic, because he fought animals before. He dodged out of the way.
Okay, let's just say he shoots all of his shots. And you say that. This is my thing. You're talking about that. You think he'll be able to grapple him and throw him off. Now, if they get close and it comes to fisticuffs, I don't think Conan is strong enough to hit him with a punch to knock him off. But that right hand of doom.
Well, that's what I think he would dodge. I think he's dodging Hellboy, and he's...
Okay.
I think he's Hellboy throwing himself off, basically. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
And see, that's why I'm so different on here, because I think even if they close, the shot thing is a huge advantage. But it's the fact that I think, even though Hellboy hits harder because of the right hand of doom.
He does.
Because think about it. Okay, if we've agreed they're both around 10 tons, Hellboy's hitting you with the left hand 10 tons. So Conan's hitting you with the right hand 10 tons. Now, they said the punch of Hellboy with the right hand of doom is compared to being a sledgehammer, and we know it's indestructible. If he loads that up, you don't think he's just going to knock eventually this fight, he's going to get tired, and all it takes is a backhand to send him
I can see that.
Side.
I can see that. But I also see Conan dodging it, and Hellboy's, I don't know, man. How big is the rooftop?
It's 80 by 80 foot.
I always forget how big it is. It's pretty big. They're not large. They're big, but they're not large. So if I think about it, him being able to dodge and throw himself off by swinging at him or whatever, actually, man, it's pretty big rooftop. It depends on where they start fighting, and then I got to do my averages in. Like what's the average of them fighting in the middle to kind of go everywhere. And, man, I don't know, man. Hellboy, if he hits him with it, he goes flying. I mean, he would.
But we said Conan's very fast. His reflexes are very.
I think he would be dodging them. I'm just going to stick with my original opinion.
Conan.
And I think it's Conan based off Hellboy trying to kill him with this right-handed doom and missing and throwing himself off the side.
Okay. So now we move to the sewers below these cities. And sewers usually tend to be like the alleyways, unless you can drown a mofo. Which is a good question.
Yeah.
Can Hellboy drown?
I don't know.
So
that's a really good question.
To me, this usually turns out just like the alley.
I think
it's Hellboy's area.
I think it's Hellboy's area again. There's places to hide and all that stuff, but it's more narrowed, and I think he wins down here.
Hands down. Wow. All right. Now, how we've gotten to two areas that are natural areas for Hellboy. Now we move to the jungle.
I think this one is by far Conan's.
I
don't even have to say anything to the audience. I think trees, brush, grass. Hellboy's going to be mad. He don't want to be out here.
I think he gets very frustrated here.
He gets snuck up on, and I think Conan wins.
Because here's the thing. There is a very scent of brimstone to Hellboy, and even he can manage to hide from Conan.
Yeah.
Conan's going to smell him, and he's known for a great sense of smell. He's a thief, so he's always really, really good at hiding. I think this is where he really can get the jump on Hellboy, and it's very, very clear cut.
I can see this in a comic book too.
Yes.
Hellboy standing out there swatting flies. Oh my God! Before he gets hit in the back of the head.
Yeah, this is real hell. So let's tally these up, and this is interesting. So open, you got Conan, I have Hellboy. We're split there. We're split on the street. We're split on the rooftop. So it's funny how when we break these down, the ones we've considered to literally be the environments that these guys are usually written in, or where we agree at. Which an alley and a sewer, we both agree Hellboy, and in the jungle we both agree Conan. Now breaking them down how we individually, which is where this kind of matters as we're adding up wins. You are torn. This is an even draw for you. 3 for Conan, 3 for Hellboy. But for me, it's 2 for Conan, 4 for Hellboy. So he barely edges him. And we kind of thought that this would be a really, really close fight.
Down to the wire.
So Hellboy barely edges out Conan in a win. And what's interesting is what really came down to these guys being able to dominate an area based on our discussion is environments that they are very, very used to.
Yep.
And to me, I wouldn't even say the hand cannon, the Good Samaritan, really played a factor.
I think he gave him a win or two, but he didn't play that big.
I don't think it did either.
Halftime he's missing with it.
No. So, like I said, and it's based out of the difference of one victory for one of us. That's edged Hellboy out. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 wins for Hellboy that are on here. And, if you match them up there. But like I said, there's just one difference between us that's kind of determined Hellboy as the winner. Which is initially your first thought.
Yeah.
Before we even started breaking anything
down. Thought it'd be a
down.
Landslide first thought, and it's not.
And literally, it's environment. And that's why we do environment on here. Because environment matters in comics. Comic characters always fight in different environments.
Yeah.
So, this was pretty fun. Even if you go to the ones on YouTube, check out the Villains Man on YouTube, where you does crossover collisions. I think this might be my favorite one.
The more I think about it, this would be a badass comic book.
It would be a badass comic book. Dark Horse, Marvel, now that Joe and Conan get on this. But this has been this episode of Crossover Collision, brought to you by the Villains Man. You can check out the Villains Man on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and wherever we're going to throw these podcasts up on.
Yeah.
Which right now, Google, iTunes, Google, and man, what's the
Spotify?
Thank you. I could not think of what Spotify was because it sounds like some hydro.
We'll try to throw it on all kinds of platforms.
Yeah, so, but for this crossover collision, I'm JVD.
And I'm Evan the Great.
Keep reading, guys.
I'm the real big red.
You are. You redheaded bastard.